Joy? I guess not. Okay, well, let's continue to give you the latest information. This is that 9. Is she there?
She's going to be joining us in just a few moments. We're establishing a signal with us with her now. Just so you know, Joy is in Newport Coast. Kobe is a longtime resident of that area, as many people know in the LA area. And I think I've talked to Jim personally over the last couple weeks and months about people seeing Kobe in Orange County and stopping traffic, and just what an amazing thing that was to see.
Well, it really is, and like I mentioned a little while ago, he's one of the few people that I have ever known that can walk across the street and stop traffic.
Right.
And people would just yell and scream and holler, Kobe, Kobe, Kobe. And I would see young kids just break away from their parents and start running towards him. And, the heck with the traffic and stuff like that. Yeah, and one of the people that I respect the most, I call him, if you're familiar with astrology, he's like that shining star. He can get you back. Discovered Kobe and Jerry West, and Jerry is with us right now. And Jerry, I appreciate you being here with us today, my friend, because I know this is a tough day for all of us, but especially for you because you were the one that discovered Kobe.
Well, Jim, I really didn't discover Kobe, okay? There was, he was a great young high school player in that time. It wasn't in vogue to draft players like that. And I had to say I was part of the process of getting here. His agent, Nartel, and myself were able to, working through the draft till he became a Laker. And those were very exciting moments for us to get a young, charismatic kid like him, but more importantly, a very unique talent. And it was start of a long, I don't say process, but start of a long friendship and working relationship. And to hear this news this morning, frankly, at first I was shocked. And then after a while, it's really sunk in. And, to see the transformation of him from a 17-year-old kid who used to spend time at my house with me to my son Ryan driving him around because he couldn't drive. He couldn't even sign a contract because he was too young. To him, the constant questions about the NBA, wanting me to go to a gym with him to watch him work out and maybe make suggestions to him. It was more than, I really felt like a surrogate father to him. And then as his career blossomed and, he started to establish this enormous reputation as a player and also filled with accomplishments. But his charisma on top of it was something that most great players don't have, and he had it. But to wake up to this news, this has been one of the most horrible days of my life. I felt like I've lost a son, and frankly, not doing very well.
Yeah, Jerry, I know there's only a few people that have had a really intimate relationship with Kobe, and you are one of them because you were with him there through the good, the bad, and the indifferent.
Well, Jim, it wasn't all rosy. It never is, and particularly for someone like him who was so anxious for success. And I remember there's one personal thing I remember. I said to him after a game where he played, and I said, "Man, you look a little tired tonight." And he said to me, I just proposed to my wife, hopefully my new wife. And I'll never forget that moment. It was in the locker room right after a game. And, to see him get married, have children, and change a career so drastically to where he was making a difference in his world, not as an athlete, but as a very bright person. His interest in women in terms of his basketball academy, the pride that he took into those things. And to see that all taken, and his family, my God, there's going to have to be some really strong people out there supporting him, because this is the worst news you could ever get.
I know it's difficult, Jerry. If you knew him better than anyone. And the other thing is, he came to you for advice not only about basketball, but just about growing and maturing into a young man responsible to his family and to the community as well, didn't he?
Well, Jim, as I say, I don't want to go around saying that I was responsible for his life. Period. I don't, because that would be grossly unfair. But the thing that I will share with you is how, to me, the things I saw him, the maturity that I saw him grow into. I saw him grow up. I saw him deal with, press that was negative at times, and he played the game with a flair. And anytime you play the game with a flair, you're susceptible to making mistakes. But I was his biggest supporter. But also, I had some very serious talks with him about how he needs to change his game a little bit to be able to accommodate himself with his other teammates. But I think the thing that brought me great joy was to watch him with his wife and his kids. It was truly inspiring for me to see this. He lived in a world of testosterone, okay? As all athletes do. And for him to be able to separate the athletic accomplishments with his personal accomplishments and the things that he was doing to have a successful career. This was a brilliant kid. This wasn't some athlete who just happened to be a great basketball player. He was more than that. And it's those.
Yeah, I know, too.
It's going to take a long time for me to get over this one.
Jerry, why do you think he's still so beloved today, even though he's been out of the game for a couple of years?
Jim, I think players that play the game with a flair, okay? You see a lot of great players who, look at Abdul-Jabbar's career, okay? And he just had a completely different personality. And you can arguably say he's the greatest career of anyone. But yet people, I don't think, will equate and look at him the same way they do as Irvin Johnson. He played the game with a flair. He had a great vibe with the fans. He still does. He's bigger than life. And Kobe's legacy, that it will remain forever. His impact will remain forever. And, my God, I just feel so horrible for his family. Oh, my goodness.
And for as great a basketball player as he was, Jerry, and I've said many times, and I've heard you say it too, he was a better family man, husband and father, and he loved those ladies in his home.
Well, as I say, all you had to do was see him with them. That's all you had to do. And I once kidded him one time after he had a couple of girls, and again, I'm not someone who goes around and communicates with players, ex-players, okay? I don't think that's my position in this world. I just know the admiration that I have for the players that have really achieved something special, but sometimes the ones who haven't. But with him, as I say, he had a little extra gold sprinkled on him, and I was kidding him. I said, "You're not a man." I said, "You have all these women in your life." And, of course, he laughed at it. But to think that I won't see him, to think his family won't see him,
gift, wasn't he, Jerry?
Jim, he was definitely a gift. Yes, he was. And as I say, you never know when a kid is born, what it's going to be. And even though he was a son of a basketball player, just it's hard to imagine his excellence, his, people call it Mamba mentality. I don't. He was just born with an incredible desire to win, and it had nothing with his mentality. He just wanted to win at all costs, and he would win at all costs. He laid his life on the line every night when it came to winning. Losing was not in his vocabulary, and with a lot of great players, but he just had this persona that very few have, a lot desire, and a lot will never have, even though they've had great careers.
Jerry, would you say he was one of the most singularly focused athletes you've ever been around?
Yes, Jim, and I think in today's day and age, and particularly with the more social media that we have today, it gets talked about so much, okay? But there's other players that's had that same focus, and I think because he talked about it, because people wanted to know what drove him, and he talked about it a lot more. But there's a lot of players that have it, but they don't have that persona. They just don't have it. And God, that will be missed in this city. Oh my goodness. For me, as I say, I started off in disbelief, and now I'm in another place. It's not a good place.
He was also, Jerry, one of the few individuals that we know that when he walked across the street, he really did stop traffic, didn't he?
Jimmy, again, as I said before, there's certain people that have that. And Magic Johnson, same way. The same way. And the people in Los Angeles have been blessed to see some incredibly gifted players. And he was homegrown. Urban Johnson was homegrown. And they mean so much to this city, so much to their communities, so much to the young kids out there looking for something positive in their lives. And as I say, this is just really hard for me to believe. I just want to go to bed and think that this is a nightmare.
Jerry, when he retired, he was ready. I mean, there are a lot of guys who are forced into retirement. There are some guys who kind of adjust to retirement, but he was ready for retirement. It was almost as though everything you told him and taught him came to fruition, because when he said Mamba out, he was ready to go.
Well, Jimmy, it's not what I taught him. Your body teaches you this. It's your body. It's not. Your body talks to you all the time when you're an athlete, okay? People see athletes perform at this enormously high level, and they can't jack it up every night, regardless of how gifted they are. They can go out there and get numbers that no one else can do and influence a game. But somewhere along the way, your will gets tested, because you just don't feel like that you can compete at that level every night as you get older. But as I say, I lost a brother in the war at 19 years of age, and to lose someone that I loved and admired, not easy.
Yeah, Jared, we just told that his daughter Gianna was on that plane with him.
I had heard that, Jimmy, unfortunately, and that's the one who was, you could always see him with in pictures, and my wife was just going through some pictures of me and my kids with him when he was a puppy, and just think days, carefree, happy, bright-eyed young man, or teenager. Frankly, I didn't even want to look at him.
Jerry, what's the life lesson? Because I know you always were teaching your players, no matter how many years they've been in the league. What's the life lesson to learn from the life of Kobe Bryant?
Hard work, dedication, beyond many, and this enormous desire to succeed. And the people who are successful, a lot of people talk a good game, and they make themselves bigger in a newspaper than they really are. He lived it. He did it. And as I say, he should be an inspiration for all. You can see people's determination in a game. You can see his. And you watch that. And those are the players that I admire most. Some of them don't have his skill, but those are the players I admire most. I'm not into flashy players. I'm not into people who look pretty. I'm into results. But he happened to be pretty to watch. You know, my God, the results he got were enormous. And for the people in Los Angeles to watch this for 20 years, a lot of families grew up with him, okay? A lot. And a lot of people were inspired by him. And I think he'll inspire more people now, Jimmy. I think he'll be revered forever.
And it's amazing the effect that he has, and he not only had, but that he still has on players of today. I know that when he goes to a Laker game and he's sitting at courtside, or when he comes to one of your games with the Clippers, the players really they don't want to let Kobe down. They play even harder, trying to, if nothing else, just to impress him. Like we just had on the air a picture of LeBron going over and talking to him at courtside before a game.
Well, as I say, Jimmy, players like this transcend time. Okay, they do. And it's what they've accomplished before them, okay? People want to go up and walk away from the game and have that kind of acceptance from the fans. But more importantly, when you have acceptance from the players, that's what's most important. The ones that don't have that perception with the players are the ones who are not the real people. And when I say real people, I'm talking about the real players. And this guy was top of the food chain, period. That's who he was.
I remember, Jerry, once, I think it was against Utah. It was the first half, and man, the Lakers were really struggling and having a lot of difficult problems on the floor. Kobe went in at halftime and said, "You know what, guys? If you don't want to win this game, get out of my way. I'll win it myself."
Well, I'll never forget playing against Utah, okay? And that game in particular, I think that changed the scope of his career.
Hi everyone, I'm Elaine Quijano. You've been watching coverage from CBS in Los Angeles. NBA legend Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. Tributes are pouring in for the former Lakers superstar. Bryant retired in 2016 after spending 20 years with the Los Angeles Lakers. Bryant was one of 5 people killed in the crash. It remains unclear at this time who else was on board. He was the 4th leading scorer in NBA history. In addition to his 5 titles with the franchise, he was also selected to the All-Star 18 times and earned an MVP award in 2008. We are awaiting a press conference from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and we'll bring that to you live as soon as it happens. But first, NBA analyst Bill Ryder joins me now by phone from Los Angeles. Bill, what more have we learned about the circumstances surrounding this crash?
Hi, Elaine. I think we'll get the official confirmation here in a few moments when the press conference you cited begins, but it has been confirmed, unfortunately, in multiple reports that among those who died in this plane crash include Kobe Bryant's 13-year-old and oldest daughter, one of her teammates parent, and presumably the pilot. 5 people in that crash as Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and one of her teammates were headed in his helicopter to one of her youth basketball games.
And Bill, what can you tell us as news now has spread about this tragic crash? What impact has his death been having among not just sports fans, but in the broader sports world of this news of Kobe Bryant's death?
Yeah, I mean, it has been a public mourning across really the globe in the sports world and for sports fans. Neymar, one of the great soccer players on earth, scored a goal and signaled to Kobe Bryant. The only NBA game that's underway at the moment in Toronto, each of those teams intentionally at the start of the game took a 24-second shot clock violation, 24 and 24 for Kobe Bryant and his number. And so with the famous and with the athletic and athletes, there is mourning. And really, my kids, Elaine, we live here in L.A., we're down at the beach, and there was just, as the news broke, there was an eerie silence, and teenagers and adults talking in shocked tones about how this can't be real. There is, here in Los Angeles, and I would imagine beyond it, just a quiet level of shock is the reality of this. We all start to do our best to process it and make sense of it.
Bill, why do you think Kobe Bryant was such a beloved figure in the Los Angeles area, yes, but not just in LA, but, I was looking on Twitter at LeBron James' comments from, I believe, just last night, talking about his reflections, seeing Kobe Bryant. This was before, of course, the helicopter crash, but the inspiration that he drew from watching Kobe Bryant on the basketball court.
Yeah, it's a great question because he resonated, you're right, Elaine, with so many people in so many ways. And I think it's that, and it's rare, right? This unique combination of both all-time greatness, and as a basketball player he was, but also being a very, very complicated human being. I mean, if you competed against Kobe Bryant, he wanted to destroy your self-confidence, your well-being, your hope, any belief you had that you could beat him on the floor, and yet there was a remarkable charm away from it. He was the most beloved figure, the most beloved sports figure by a wide margin in Los Angeles, and the connection he had was so powerful to be almost cult-like and emotional. But there obviously in Kobe Bryant's life were some dark moments, including accusations of sexual assault. He was a basketball player, yes, but he was also a Renaissance man in business. It turned out in art. He spoke multiple languages. He'd lived abroad in Italy with his family, and so he had a worldliness. This was a complicated guy, and if you tried to say that Kobe Bryant was just one thing, you were missing the 50 other things that defined him. And I think as a father and a parent, which makes this even more tragic than it otherwise would have been, Kobe Bryant, the dad, for a lot of folks, and maybe for Kobe, like it does for a lot of fathers with daughters, it took some of the rough spots off, right? I think it gave him some perspective, and whatever it did for him as an individual, you could see as a father the love he had for his children. The last time I ever saw Kobe Bryant in person, he was with his daughter, his oldest daughter, who passed away in that flight today. And so all of these things, this sort of crucible that of the ingredients that went into Kobe Bryant made him likable and loathed. And in the end, I think, Elaine, it added up to a real level of respect, and respect for his talent and for his mind and for his formidability and who he became as a father. And I think that's all of those things people are mourning today.
And Bill, what kind of a presence did he still sort of retain there in the Los Angeles area, given the fact that he hadn't played since 2016?
Yeah, you would think he was the president of the United States when you saw him walk through Staples Center or be somewhere. And again, the last game I went to a few weeks ago when Kobe Bryant was there, I mean, obviously, Elaine, LeBron James was in the building. He plays, right? He plays for the Lakers. He's a big star. And if memory serves, maybe it was Rihanna. Some, like they always are at Lakers games, some superstar celebrity was there. And Anthony Davis is kind of a big deal. I mean, it's a who's who when you go to a Lakers. But it was when Kobe Bryant walked in. And not even when he walked in, there was a ripple. You could feel it in the building. And people started whispering, Kobe's coming, Kobe's coming. And when he walked out of that tunnel near the floor, there was not a gasp, just an exclamation of, I mean, you would think that a group of people were watching someone literally walk on water to watch Kobe walk onto the floor. His impact, his connection, his hold over the city, it was absolute, and it was so real and authentic. It lasted well beyond, as you pointed out, when he could actually help the city. LA is usually a town when you can't offer something anymore, LA will sort of move on from you. That wasn't true for Kobe. There was an emotional connection beyond what he was able to do as a basketball player, and that's certainly part of what's being processed and dealt with today here in Southern California.
Bill, I wonder if you can talk at all about the fact that it was quite an active, quote-unquote, retirement for him as well, that, in fact, in those years after leaving basketball as a player, he was still very much keeping a busy schedule, including coaching his daughter's team.
Yeah, there are a lot of NBA players and former athletes who, as we know, Elaine, retire young and retire with money, and you have to fill your time. Many of them, some of them are friends of mine, they take up golf. That was never going to be Kobe Bryant. That competitive need, right, to win, to dominate, to feel alive in that way for him, it defined his post-playing career. He was a very successful entrepreneur, was moving into movies and production. You're right, as a coach of his daughter's team, and she was, an amazing talent in her own right, and the pride for her dad of what she was becoming. He continued to be aggressively involved in the things that mattered to him. His daughter's basketball team, being a father, some of these entrepreneurial ventures that he was a part of. I have some colleagues and friends with them in sports media who tried to pitch some ideas to Kobe's production company.